Hey, welcome into the MFM podcast. I'm Dan with Michele and Morrow Boggs. I feel like you have to say
your
the
whole
full
name.
The full name, yeah. You can't just
Morrow
say.
Boggs.
You're like a Chandler Bing kind of guy, you know? You have to say both names.
Yeah.
I like that.
Boggs Morrow could work too.
It could, but
No,
at least
I like
it's only
Morrow.
two names. If it was three names, then I'd probably be a serial killer. 'Cause,
Maybe.
you know, most assassins, yeah. John Wilkes
Or
Booth.
you just
Although
be the,
Morrow Boggs kind of does sound like a killer. I'm not gonna
Morrow
lie.
Boggs sounds like the president of FIGAM.
I'm the one who just told us not to say kill, and I'm like, killer.
Sounds like an unaliver.
Yeah.
Well, there's a loud car going by in the background, but we'll
Sounds
just
like a Mazda 1997.
enough. Well, I'm going to start with enough today. Enough with loud cars.
Listen, I hear him
I
outside
mean-
my window all the time
I
while
mean,
I'm working.
get over yourself.
Yeah. And
What
why
is
why
the point?
sit at a red light and rev?
What's
You
the
know?
point of a loud car?
Yeah. If you're
You
not
know?
16 and trying to impress some chick, no.
It boils my blood when
Yeah.
when I hear one coming and it passes me. I literally feel like my body temperature
Yeah,
rises.
same.
Which makes
makes
you feel worse, that the engine's so loud your eardrums are shattering, or that the music's so loud over the loud engine that it makes your nose bleed?
I don't know.
It just bothers me because if they're trying to impress, if you're not 16, outside of 16-year-olds, if you're trying to impress a female, what female on the face of this earth is going to be like, that's so hot? You know,
I don't understand what the point is. No one seems to like that sound. I don't
No.
understand.
It's like
But
dudes
16-year-old
impressing other
kids,
dudes.
I guess.
Young kids.
Weren't
yeah.
you ever young? Didn't you ever have you probably drove a Lincoln Continental around when you were
My
in high
son
school.
was a car
Yeah,
kid, so I
absolutely.
lived that
No.
life with him when he was a kid. But I see grown-ass men and stuff.
But you can be a car guy and still not have to have like you can have an awesome car without having some.
yeah.
I
agreed.
think I think though, if it's before a car before 1970, it has to make that noise that you just made
I don't know.
I guess
to get the full effect of the.
Yeah,
Besides,
I
those guys
guess.
can't hear anyway because they're like all 60.
That's true.
I'm
I've
just
heard-
not into cars. I
No,
never have been. My
a
ex
big
used to
car guy.
literally dust his car off.
Not a big car guy.
When we parked, he would dust it. He had a duster in his trunk.
What?
Yeah, and he would dust it all the time. That was Dahmer though, so
If
that
you're
makes
doing
sense.
that, the car is too much of your
and it
personality.
was, listen, it was a Volkswagen,
Oh, Jesus.
like a GTI or
Convertible
whatever,
bug.
and he was 49 years old. Yeah,
All right.
but that was Dahmer, so it all kind of goes together.
Enough
you know?
with that guy. All right, we're gonna start with comments today.
Yes. Okay.
So
we went
We
a
kind of
little.
opened a Pandora's box last week when we started talking about
Blake.
Lively and Justin, which I can tell Dan is already sick
I
of it.
just-
But
Oh,
Why,
hold
I
on.
wonder
We gotta say that line again because I pressed the button. Sorry.
why do people care so much about this? Like it's like
Okay,
why do we care
here's-
so much?
Before we get into that, let's do the comments or no?
sure, let's do the comments and we'll talk about why people care.
Because I'll rabbit hole down there for a while. Well, first of all, everybody was Team Justin. I think we might have had one person say that there's some sort of red flags if somebody is throwing out all the receipts out there and not waiting till court. But we can go down that rabbit hole.
Imagine the position he'd be in if he hadn't saved all those texts.
And it's a lot bigger than people think.
And he hadn't saved all of those voicemails.
Yeah.
There's hundreds, maybe thousands of voicemails and texts between the two of them where she's telling him he's such a great guy.
And it's bigger than we thought. I personally went down the rabbit hole. I went down the website till 4 o'clock
That's why
in the
we
morning.
haven't heard from her in 5 days.
Yeah, 4 o'clock in the morning. I was reading because,
It's 160 pages or something.
I was interested from a lawyer perspective of the actual complaint. And I have to say, the complaint is written like it is a tabloid, like the tabloids. It's like, whatever. But this is way far beyond, like, her saying that he did anything sexually or something. Like, she stole his movie, the entire thing.
Well,
like,
there's
he purchased the movie.
There's a thing of her today where she comes, she's giving a press conference or a Comic-Con or something, and she says, when I come onto a movie, I'm not fulfilled if
I
I get
saw
hired
that.
as an actress unless I'm taking over the creative.
So she said, I lie. Yeah. She said,
Yeah.
I fake it, tell them they're hiring me as an actor, and then I pull the rug out from underneath them.
All right. See, that's where I get
that's where
fired
Dan's-
up.
No, but listen, Dan. I'll give you the 5-second thing of what she did. She came in. She started doing rewrites. She started pushing. Like he said last time, the wardrobe had to be delivered in a truck to her. She wanted to see the dailies every single day. When she realized she wasn't getting her way, the strike happened. After the strike, her lawyer served a thing saying that she was being sexually harassed and all this stuff, so Justin wasn't allowed near her, blah, blah, blah. And she stole the whole movie. And then when it was time for editing, she told Sony, I will not promote this movie unless my edit gets published. So the current movie that's out there isn't even the movie. It's not Justin's movie. And the only other thing I'll say about it is all of his movies have a cause. Like he did one about a girl that had CF. Like, he only takes on a movie that's gonna like change the world like a tiny bit. So imagine how he felt. Like, he wasn't invited to the premiere. His family had to sit in the basement.
Maybe he'll do a movie about my gonorrhea. That would be a good cause.
Are you
No,
saying,
but could you imagine?
No, look.
His family sat in the basement.
Look, if you go on as an actress, if the director asks you, hey, I want your input, but no, you don't do that. You don't do that in any industry. You don't.
The director has spent years getting investors, getting producers together, getting all the shit together to make this happen.
To get to production.
And he was so respectful to her. He was so respectful, back, and said, I welcome you.
If you want that creative control, raise the money, write the script, direct the movie.
Do your own freaking movie.
Yeah, go do the work, and then you have creative control. You can't just fucking, audition for a movie, get the part, and then you think you're directing the movie.
She stole the whole thing.
But she did.
Entitlement is ridiculous.
He had to give up his, you guys would know more than me, like the byline or the big, his name on it. He had to give that up and everything.
Is the movie out?
Yeah, her version.
Yeah.
So there's a petition out there.
So there's a movie out that says directed by Blake Lively?
No, it says directed by Justin Baldoni.
I don't know. But it's not like
he
it's
may
not
have
his
had
version.
Final cut.
There's actually a petition out there for his version to be released.
Yeah.
But Sony only agreed to all of it because she said, I will not promote this movie. And
who is going to hire her now?
Listen, all those receipts that I read, every single person involved in that movie was under massive duress because of her.
But receipts, you mean text receipts?
All of it, yeah. I read every single bit, like the 255-page complaint with
Paper
all the
receipts from gas
stations. Yeah, some gas stations.
So,
did she have too many burgers?
No, but all of them were she everything was messed up. She changed the entire wardrobe. She changed everything. There was not a single person on that set that wasn't in duress and stressed out. And
then I heard that she said, what's her boyfriend's name?
Her husband, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. I heard her say that Ryan Reynolds wrote the whole rooftop scene.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Sony's legal department was up in shambles.
You can't do it because it's a Writers Guild show, and the movie belongs to a...
Ryan Reynolds made Justin cry. He started telling her at Ryan's Wolverine Deadpool premiere, told Justin's agents or somebody that he was a sexual predator, and it was terrible.
Ryan needs to have his ass kicked.
They're just gonna have to make their own movies because no one's gonna want to work with them
ever.
So it's a lot bigger than she just made a claim. She stole the whole movie.
I'd love to see Deadpool 9. Is that what's coming? The next one, Deadpool 9.
I think their life is done. I think they're done. The only thing is there was a lot of smear campaigns and people hired. The only thing is 1% of me is could this just be a giant smear campaign? Because now I guess Blake has subpoenaed phone records to prove that there's more to the story. So I don't know. They're done in the public eyes though.
Also though, when is this gonna blow? I mean, this is the flavor.
Can we
of the
move
week.
on?
This was the flavor of the week. It'll blow over soon.
I don't know.
I mean, not for them. This is going to be a years-long legal battle, but we'll stop hearing about it, and then we'll hear about it every time there's a continuation.
News today from the Blake Lively Baldoni trial.
They're saying she's making Amber Heard look like a sweetheart, literally.
Man, people love this drama, and then once something like this happens, then you have all the people like us
who
right
trying
now
to make
grifting
themselves
off
faces,
of
grifting off of it.
Yeah, we're just grifters right now talking about the Blake Lively stuff.
Well,
so let's move on to questions.
So I have to say, overall, a lot of people said really nice stuff about our podcast. So thank you. Lots of
beginner's luck.
I want what they're smoking.
Yeah. Basically, the whole consensus is Team Justin, and there is a big push for his version to be released. and she got you guys would know what this is more than PGA credit or whatever. For
Producers
the movie.
Guild. She got a Producers Guild of America.
Yeah, and he didn't or whatever. So
Wow.
Yeah,
love your takes following this podcast now.
Wow, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing. You don't usually see such a unanimous verdict in favor of the man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Usually, like, it's either unanimous in favor of the woman or it's like a split decision in favor of the man. You know,
Yeah.
you don't usually get the unanimous, like, knockout decision.
It'll
for
be
the
interesting
guy.
to see how it comes down at the end of the
Well,
match.
she picked the wrong dude too. Like, I knew the TED Talks thing I told you, but he's written books on healthy masculinity. Like, he literally wrote a kid's book about how to be like a healthy man, and
Just to play devil's advocate, there was a lady who wrote a children's book about loss after her husband died, and she killed the husband. So.
Oh, okay.
Anyways.
In case you don't know,
Oh,
Dan
she
is a
unalived the
true
husband.
crime
So-
addict.
The other comments were on a video where I called myself a hypocrite because I have all dude friends and would not
No,
be
no.
happy.
Ooh,
It's not
okay.
I know. So
It's
I'll
not
let
because
pick
you
your
have
favorite.
all dude friends, Michelle.
It's because
it's
I
because
wouldn't-
you refuse to accept the fact that 85% of those friends are just friends with you so they can have an opportunity to slide in there when there's an opportunity.
Well, it was the thing. It was the comments. It was the subject as a whole and my take on it. Go ahead, Dan. There was a few
all right,
little.
someone says she doesn't like her man having female friends because she knows how she feels about her male friends.
Negative.
What? I mean, that's
So-
Kind of.
No, I'm gonna just give my little, and I think that was a girl. But anyway, I am friends with mostly dudes because I get along with them better.
no, you like the attention.
No, that's not true. That's not true. Dan, I relate to
Don't
Dan
go to
more.
Dan for help.
No,
He's not going to support
Dan
you
is
on
my
this.
dude friend. He's interesting. He's got cool things to say. I can laugh about things. I don't have to worry about him trying to knock me down, competing with me. What'd you say when we first got here? If you need someone to talk to, I'm here.
Oh, that's the number one.
know?
You know, if you're ever sad, just give me a call.
That
and I'll
is-
come
that is a
over,
way to get in,
and
but
I'll give
that's
you,
not
I'll give you a shoulder to lean on.
I'm one of the 15% though that it's not. It's not.
And
Trying,
my
We're
guy
not saying
friends-
we're not saying it's 100%.
we're part of the 15%.
but we're
No, but I
saying
wanna-
85.
Besides that, I would like to say that I genuinely, and with all of me, am not seeking any validation from my guy friends. And anybody that's friends with me will know that. Do I behave to you like I'm
no,
seeking your
not
validation?
not to us.
But women are competitive, especially if you're an attractive female. It is really hard to have female friends. I have
It's
been,
because you have the wrong kind of female friends.
I have-
if you
my
stop having
entire
hoes,
life, I
you stop
have
having
been-
hoes for friends, then you wouldn't have to
it's
worry
not
about
even
that.
hoes. I've had people that I thought were the nicest people that in the end I've literally been in tears because they do terrible things to me. They try to knock you down because they're insecure around you, and women are. It's called pretty shaming, and it's an actual thing. I'm sure you've heard of it.
I wouldn't know about pretty shaming, but
It's
you might,
terrible.
Morrow.
And I'm not saying that I'm like, a supermodel, but I'm saying if you're attractive, women are awful to you. They're terrible.
Well, if you're ugly, women are awful to you too.
I guess so. Yeah.
It made me think of I love when I meet a woman that most of her women friends are ugly. I love it because then those friends are going to tell her like, that girl, that guy is like, because they're so used to the guys that they get, being like
Dicks.
or just
Yeah.
being ugly, like
Yeah.
like an ugly, really out of shape ugly girl. They're going to date like a dorky guy, So when they see
This is going to get you in so
yeah,
much
it's gonna
trouble,
get me in
just
so
so
much
you
trouble.
know.
But actually at the gym the other day, first of all, the gym is like, we've talked about this. It's like the hardest place ever to talk to a girl. I would never.
But you would never.
I would
you
never talk to a girl at the gym. It's against my.
I wouldn't want a guy to talk to
No,
me at the
that's
gym.
not-
If
you don't talk to
anything,
girls.
start, become
There's no way to
friends
do it.
without trying,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
bring the conversation
there's
outside
no
of the
way to do
gym.
it. There's no
do you know
good
what
way
I
to
mean?
do it.
No,
So-
become friends on social media or something,
Yeah,
and
maybe
then have a conversation
that would be the
outside
only.
of the gym.
Anyways, but
but
we've
don't
gone
talk
over
to me
that.
when I'm working out.
We've gone over that. I would never do it. I can't do it. But the other day, the one in a million thing happened. A girl actually talked to me at the gym. Now, it was just like, she was just like, oh, like that thing you were doing, it looked hard, And I was like, what? This has like never happened before. And then I saw after we finished talking, she walked back over to her friend she was working out with. Her friend was so ugly, and I was like, ooh, that's I might have a chance with her.
I have
her
never
friend is
heard
probably,
this concept, but that's interesting.
Yeah, because her friend is probably like, who's that guy you were talking? Like, to her, I'm like an Adonis.
Well, first of all, she's trying to pick you up. That's a definite pickup line.
Girls,
a woman is not going to say something like that.
But then she left, and then I almost wanted to go to her friend and be like, "What's your friend's? Could I get your friend's phone number? Like, is she single?" But
it's the gym.
No way to do that.
You
cannot
cannot
even
do it.
Go to the girl's friend and ask.
But if you become friends on social and take the conversation out of the gym, maybe.
How would I ever find her on social?
Easily.
She was attractive. I would have gone out with her for sure.
If you give me her name and get, what
know her
gym she
name.
goes to, go to the gym's Instagram, go to the followers, and search.
I don't even know.
You don't know her name?
Go back to the gym a couple of times at the same time you were there.
It was on a weekend in the middle of the day. I've never seen her other than that.
Because you don't. Are you normally there on the weekends in the middle of the day?
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the main times.
Manifest it.
Regardless, it was like I've never talked to a female at the gym. That was the first time I've ever done it, and because she talked to me because I would never do it. But I did notice that her friend was unattractive, which made me think that I had extra chance with her.
I've never heard that concept.
That's my theory.
Ever.
Yeah, that's my theory. If all their friends are like the hottest things ever, then they're used to like really highly valued males being around all the time.
What would you?
Maybe not high quality.
Maybe not high
but
quality.
Perceived high value.
Perceived high value. Yeah.
So what about
that's totally
somebody
different.
like me? If let's say we met on a dating app and you realize that I do have female friends, like a few, but not a lot of them. The majority of my friends were guys. You would immediately think some of these things, like the people said in the comments.
Until proven innocent.
I would.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, probably. I would assume that, but also like, when you get to know someone and you start to see how they behave around other people, then proven innocent.
There's nothing.
Basically,
there's nothing
exactly.
worse than seeing guys treat their buddies really shitty, or women treat their girlfriend really shitty.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than that. Makes me insane. The only thing that makes me worse is seeing a couple, out in public.
Yeah.
Just who obviously can't stand each other. It's just like, why are you with these people?
I think though,
if
you see like, I know the kind of girl that people are talking about when they say that, the kind of girl who surrounds herself with dudes so she gets like attention and affection. And I think you could see that, but I think anybody that spends a few minutes with me and sees how I interact with like my dudes and a guy that I'm dating, I'm gonna bring him around my dude friends.
Yeah.
And like, it just.
And what if your guy you're dating says, you know what? I don't like it.
It's a non-negotiable for me. My guy friends are some of my closest friends. I've been best friends with the same guy since 8th grade.
It does take a confident dude to be okay with a girl having guy friends.
It's not about confidence. It's about. You wouldn't like it if your dude had 5 or 6 really good girlfriends that he hung out with. You would. You can tell me you would. That's not true.
Listen, D was fine. I went to Puerto Rico
you didn't really
with
care
one
about,
of my guy
you
friends.
never really cared about D, really.
Oh my God, he's the love of my life. Anyway, he didn't bother. I went to Puerto Rico with one of my best guy friends, and he was cool with it. I went to Mexico with Chav, and he was cool with it. Because if you get to know me, you realize that like nothing is ever gonna happen. Like I would swear on like anything important to me, I would never do anything with my guy friends. So whoever I was with would know that. I'm very loyal. And like super, no one has ever questioned my love or my loyalty.
So I think that, like for me, like when we talked about, I said my past relationship, she had guy friends I was comfortable with, but even though I was comfortable with her not doing anything, if there was a guy that I knew was like actively trying to even though I know she wouldn't do it, that still is
you can tell. Yeah. You can tell immediately.
It still makes you uncomfortable, even if you know they're not going to do it.
None of my guy friends are even
a percentage doing
of
that. So
not one of my guy friends even at all is like that. Truly. And I wouldn't like go out to dinner with like a dude while I was with, you know what I mean? It's not like that.
Not like going.
Okay, I went to Puerto Rico for a week.
Morrow.
And you would be cool with him going to Puerto Rico with a girl.
It's different. It really is.
Whoa! What do you mean it's different?
If you hung out with me and my dude, you've seen me and Chav for how long? Like the vibe between us, like literally.
I'm not talking Chav and Dan, who are very different.
What if the vibe was the same for the girl and guy?
if it meant that much and it was like a long-term friendship, I would deal with it.
All right.
Like what?
Fair enough.
I genuinely, and anyone that knows me, I struggle to get along with females. They have hurt me my whole life. I've literally bawled my eyes out because they've like mean girled me and bullied me, and said mean shit. Like girls cut each other down. You know, like they always try to make me look bad in front of their dude and like things like that.
Then they're not really your friends. And
Exactly.
why would you hang out with them?
Exactly.
Ever. That'd be the end. One time, see ya.
I learned that eventually in my life, and I've just the things I like to do in my life too, most dudes like to do. You know what I mean? Like, so I just get along better with dudes. I was a tomboy when I was little. I didn't wear a dress until I was like 18.
I didn't wear a dress till I was in my 30s.
Why do you hate Taylor Swift so much, Dan?
Who? Who's Taylor Swift?
The singer. She's dating.
Dan does not like to admit that Taylor Swift exists because he just wants to be the only person on the face of this earth that doesn't know who she is.
I never heard. She's a rapper or
Yeah, country singer.
country singer. Okay, country singer. All right, cool.
Taylor Swift isn't a country singer.
Why do we care so much about what Taylor Swift does?
I don't know.
Why do we
a-
care so much about people's relationships?
This goes right back to everybody being in everybody's business.
Listen, I
because
don't
everybody
know.
loves to see other people miserable.
The Swifties are like hardcore about. Have you seen what Swifties are?
Yeah,
for fans?
they're like a giant band of piranhas that love Taylor Swift.
It's a whole culture.
It's weird to be that like obsessed with another human being.
In like your 30s or 40s.
Yeah. Like
It's just like
when you're 8
it's
years
just like
old,
guys that wear other guys' names and football jerseys.
Yeah, if a guy wears a jersey, like you're wearing another dude's name on your back.
I never thought about
You
that.
know what I mean?
And he
like,
could give a fuck.
like-
except that
I
he
never
spent-
thought about
like,
that.
like,
what?
if you're wearing a jersey, guarantee your girlfriend will the guy whose jersey you're wearing because he's automatically above you because you're wearing his jersey.
You mean be intimate?
Yeah. Be intimate. I think it's the most emasculating thing to wear another dude's name on your back. Like, oh, I'm 40 years old. Can I have your autograph? Like, it's
I
just-
never
it's
thought of it
so,
like that.
It's ridiculous.
It's,
Yeah.
It's
It's
ridiculous.
an absurd concept when
I
you really
never
think
thought
about
of it like that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Like,
I don't understand why people care so much about Taylor and Travis. Like, what's the big deal?
Because they are put on a pedestal. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with either one of them.
No, they
I'm
seem
glad they
nice.
found each other. Look like in their great relationship.
I think the
That-
Swifties
I
are
just
happy
don't
because
care.
she's
That is
finally
all- yeah,
happy.
yeah. Just
because
let
she has
them
all
be.
these songs about
they
her
would
heartbroken.
they would turn on her. Half of them would turn on her the second that they thought she did something wrong.
I don't think so. Not
if
the
she
Swifties.
came out tomorrow morning and said, "I've been thinking about it, and I'm going to support President Trump."
I think she has.
That would be crazy. No,
No,
she
no.
Oh, she's
endorsed.
the
She
opposite?
endorsed Kamala. That would be incredible. If she did that.
Would-
That would be wild.
Would that be a great social experiment?
That
I
would be.
literally think everybody would follow her.
You're wrong.
The Swifties are crazy.
That would show, if they did, it's a great experiment. If they did, it would show that they have nothing, that they are just sycophants.
Listen,
Yeah.
I think she's a very genius businesswoman for what she has.
She writes all her own
created,
stuff.
Yeah,
She's
the
done.
brand, yeah. But like
I just
the
don't care.
Swifties, it's a little bit much. Like, why are we so obsessed
Also-
with her and him?
Like making a point, not just about her, but going back to the whole point about athletes and sports in general is like, not only are you wearing another dude's like name on your back, and you're like it's gonna make or break your day whether another dude like runs a ball across the line. That dude is like 19 years old. Like
Yeah.
those dudes
Yeah.
have lived no life.
They don't
have
even
no
know you
wisdom.
exist, bro.
Now, do you
Yeah,
think
like-
you have that point of view because you are a former professional athlete and like
Probably a little bit, but
Yeah.
like it's just also just as a man, it just feels weird. I don't know. Like, look, and I watch sports.
Yeah.
I love watching. I bet on sports. Like I enjoy the craftsmanship of it, the excellence, the
Yeah.
athleticism of these dudes. But like, I don't care who wins.
I literally
Like,
never thought of it
it's
like
just
that
like
before.
dead
That
serious.
is
Like,
weird.
it's gonna affect my week.
I mean,
if an 18-year-old wins or loses a game.
Yeah.
Have you not been in a room where there's a game going on and people are getting angry and yelling and throwing shit around?
It's
and
bizarre to me.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, especially if you don't have money on it.
I just don't get
I mean,
it.
I could see like getting into a game, like just for the fact of like enjoying it, and
Yes.
they get tense and things like that.
But,
But
like, it actually
where
like
their whole house is everything
deeply affecting
Yeah.
you, and that's your identity. Your identity is wrapped up in like a group of like young dudes that are just gonna go out and party and bang chicks after the
Does
game.
that mean-
Like, you know, it's just like
Does that mean you don't do fantasy football, Dan?
I've never done fantasy football.
I've
I'm
never
very
done
proud of
fantasy
it.
football.
Very proud of that about myself. But I do like
Yeah.
gambling on sports. But
Yeah.
So all right, Morrow, take us
Yeah.
into
My question is this. So you're in a relationship. Let's say you've been in a relationship 5 years. It's a good relationship. You guys are in love with each other. And one of the people in the relationship just loses their mojo. And they're just not interested in sex or physical part of the relationship. Everything else is great, but they're just not interested in having intimacy with you.
So
Is
this
that-
is Dan in a relationship after 3 months?
yeah, exactly.
Is that where we're going with this?
3 weeks.
Yeah.
But no, I'm
Depends
talking
on-
long. We can't count Dan because Dan's a mutant. So,
Hold
but-
on. I wonder if there's girls that like knew I wonder, just we'll get back to that one second. If the podcast gets out a little bit and girls start knowing it, I bet it's going to become like a challenge to a girl. I could see a girl knowing that was the fact
mean,
and purposely
also-
wanting to be the one that
Also,
like at
yeah.
3 months was like, he still wants to.
Also, if Dan was honest in his dating profiles and said, it's possible I'm going to lose interest in having intimacy with you in 3 or
Nobody
4
writes that in their dating
if-
profile, Morrow.
If he was honest, I think that would maybe find him the kind of woman he's looking for.
You don't just go and
No.
say that. That's
Nobody would
But
ever.
it's the truth.
okay. So then they should say on their profile, like, yeah, I have, my dad beat me when I was young, and like I got.
I shit my pants on the way to the
yeah,
gym.
Like why would someone write that? I shit my
Just
pants.
for background,
Hey, she
I
almost
don't
shit her-
listen.
Almost.
For background, that's not me that said that. That's Dan's former situation.
That's almost. It was
She
an almost.
Almost shit
Yeah.
her pants on the way to
Ladies
the gym.
never text
Look,
that.
I think that first it's like how long is this loss of mojo going on? Because it could be the person's depressed and it's a couple months.
That's
and
exactly
they
what
get,
I was
they
going
get
to
better.
say.
So
I
it's been
think you
going.
need to get
It's
to
been
the
going
root
on.
of the
I think I
issue.
said it's been going for a year.
Yeah,
Has,
that's an
it
issue.
depends. Has that if it's me? Have I done anything to try to like spice things up?
Like what? What would you do, Michelle?
Like maybe the person isn't interested because I'm boring right now or something, Like there's tons of stuff you can do to spice it up. Maybe they're into something or they want to try something new. Communication.
Yeah, communication is
Yeah.
big. It's also
There's a reason. I mean, you don't just stop.
there's-
Maybe they
there's-
need testosterone.
There's no
Maybe it's
there's no
medical.
reason. They're just not.
There's
in it.
always a
They just lose
reason.
their mojo. Okay, I'm not a psychologist. This is just my.
Whether it's in your head or it's body
so
chemistry.
that makes a
could be
difference.
fixed.
So I have to become a psychologist, then and figure out what the
By next
No,
week,
but your
can you be a-
partner should care enough to like. I wouldn't just say, okay, if this guy didn't want to be intimate with me anymore, I wouldn't just go find someone else. I would try to figure out why.
And how would you do that?
Talk to him.
And how long would you give it before it was an issue, like a real issue?
Well, I could lie and say I would
So
for a while, but I would start to get insecure.
My
and
real
stuff,
question
so
is.
not long.
My real question is. Is it justified to leave a long-term relationship because your partner loses interest in intimacy?
yeah, I think so.
I mean, you always, if you don't want to be in a relationship anymore, you always have justification, really. But I think if you just don't try to figure it out, I think a lot of people, it's like a for better or forget it world, and people just don't want to put in any work to try to figure it out.
Yeah. I think definitely you someone is well within their rights. It's completely reasonable if sex is important to you and your partner isn't having it and you've tried to figure it out and it's not and they're not doing it.
It's a big part of a relationship.
I think it's there. And I'm saying this as a guy who has been on the side of not wanting to.
Yeah, and I feel like you're.
I just think that you're making you should talk about it and figure it out and work it out. That your partner has to be willing to do that.
Yeah. Well, look at my one situation where I love someone who was deeply depressed and he struggled and things like that. And he went from somebody who had like a hyper sex drive to not for a little while. And it definitely made me insecure and stuff. But he was also great about communicating it's not you, and like things like that. I think you have to at least talk about it once.
Oh, I'm not saying not talk about it. I'm not saying it's like, it's been 3 weeks and 2 days. I'll see you later.
I would look at it as like my job to like try to turn them on. I would try different things.
The worst though is when like
You
the,
try.
the worst situation is when the person's not going to be turned on no matter what, and
Yeah,
then the other person
yeah.
tries. It's like,
Yeah.
because it's like,
That's awful.
it's so awkward for the person who doesn't want to do it, and then
Yeah.
it's so hurtful to the person who is
Yeah.
trying. You know, it's
Yeah.
Have you ever said, "I'm just not interested right now"?
yeah,
Oof,
and how
really?
Did that, and how did that go over?
not great.
Tell us about it.
I was my last girlfriend, the long-term girlfriend. I was usually, I guess, an initiator. You know, like she wouldn't initiate as much. So if I wasn't initiating, then, but she would do it anytime I initiated. She wanted to do it, you know. But I just stopped and less, and then, you know, I think she'd try, and I don't know, I'd like be like, oh, I
See,
don't feel
I-
good tonight, you know. And then eventually she,
You pulled the "I got a headache."
yeah. And then eventually she brought it up to me, you know, and I don't know. I was depressed at the time, so.
Yeah,
But
it
it's just
ma- it
happened to me in a
matters.
lot of relationships, but here's the thing: there's somewhere between, like what we're talking about, of like, all right, your you know, sex drive is here and it should always stay here, or else I'm leaving the relationship, and then like. There's also a relationship should change over time, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's unreasonable to, if you had sex 7 out of 7 days a week when you first started, you know, a couple years in, it's 3 times a week. I don't think that's unreasonable.
No,
at
Yeah.
all.
not at all.
You know what I mean? I think that changes, and so to keep your expectation,
Because your,
of it's always
your
gonna,
responsibilities change, and your
Yeah.
if your expectation stays is we always are going to have sex once a day, I think you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Like, that's unreasonable.
I agree completely.
But I think
Yeah.
also just like completely stopping sex too is like, it's got, you know,
Yeah.
it's got to be somewhere in the middle. But relationships do change, not just sexually. Relationships
and
change
people
in a
go
lot of
through,
ways.
like, you know, cycles.
Yeah,
and stuff.
ebbs and
Like,
flows.
I'm not an initiator. I've told you guys that I'm like more of like a guy leads kind of things. Not that I never would, but like I know when like signals to you know,
Yeah,
pick
yeah.
up on and things
Yeah.
like that, if he's into it or not.
if he's in that leather lederhosen and
No.
that mask, you know,
Like,
he's
if-
got that whip in his hand. It's like,
Yeah, no.
That's-
But like if it's something I'm in the mood for, I'll like tickle his stomach every time, and then he'll take it from there. You know what I mean? Like then if he's feeling it, he'll take it from there. Like I would never just
yeah.
go in and like
Yeah,
fully
yeah.
initiate. For me, I don't think
Yeah.
that. If he never picked up on those cues and just never did it, I would talk to him first. But
Yeah,
if it like a year went on, like it's
Because-
terrible
because-
for your self-esteem.
because
you know?
it's a different time out there now.
Yeah.
So men initiating the physicality is, maybe it's turning around now because of, you know, the new mood in America, but that was kind of a no-no for a while.
for a second, yeah.
It-
What do
that
you
was kind of men being aggressive.
Yeah.
That is bad. Was looked upon as bad.
Yeah.
Or at least people said it was.
Well, you
Did
know,
women
to a
really
certain
actually feel
group
that
of
way?
people,
Yeah,
no.
but yeah, but you know what I'm saying exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I've always said, they just didn't meet the right guy then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they looked at a man who was like alpha male and led a scenario, like led in the relationship as negative, they haven't met the right man yet.
Yeah.
That's how I've always looked at it, you know?
But as the guy, that's a hard place to be.
Why?
Because if a woman doesn't want to kiss you and you go to kiss her,
You don't know.
there's
yeah.
nothing, you know, worse than that.
Man, a woman will never know the
You
feeling.
can't tell though, like if
Well,
they want to.
yeah, I always wait long enough that I can tell. But I'm just saying,
Yeah.
a woman,
because you won't kiss on the first date.
a woman,
Yeah.
a
You
woman,
won't kiss on the second date. You probably won't kiss. You probably won't kiss till the third date.
even
You can tell if a woman is gonna like.
you can,
That's
you can,
Really?
but
You can?
even
Are you
then,
saying 100%?
Not
You can-
100% of the time, but even when you can, it's still like a nervous
You could
thing
get
to-
denied, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Not that I care, you know. Not that I'm going to be
This is
crushed.
what every man should do then. Touch her face. Like hug her, touch her face. You can tell how she reacts,
Yeah.
and then go in for the kiss.
No,
if
I mean,
she,
even-
if she's
she-
still
you know,
leaning, if she's
she
still
does-
women
leaning
don't
in
understand.
toward
They don't
you,
understand
the
it.
courage it
They
takes.
don't.
If you
kiss a
literally
woman.
touch her face and she like still is like,
What if she doesn't
engaged,
want you to touch her face and she goes, "Why are you touching me?"
Then bye. That's not a girl you want to be with.
See, you don't.
A girl is gonna like not want you to touch. Every woman loves her face touched.
Wow, we're gonna get a lot of comments from this.
They all want their face touched by a certain guy.
That's right.
You know,
A guy you're being intimate with. Like, let's say
I
go
just
in
like to
for
walk
a hug,
around.
touch her face, and see if she's leaning towards you, like looking up at you, whatever.
It could be a trap.
So the next time I'm in the bread aisle
And
I'm
somebody's
going
leaning
to-
towards you.
I'm gonna touch
Well,
their
you're not
face.
just gonna walk up to some chick and kiss her.
I appreciate your
It's
thoughts.
Naivete.
I do. I really do. But you're living in a dream.
I'm not living in a dream.
You are.
Why?
I can't wait to see what people say about whether guys should just touch her face.
Yeah.
No, not just a random dude.
We're not
but
talking
like,
about random.
I can't believe she said that any girl you want to kiss, even if you've never met her and you just
Just-
see her in the
No,
supermarket,
guys.
you
Touch her
just
face.
touch her face. I can't believe she said
Reel
that.
it back in.
In
If-
Raleigh 16 News today, a
Are you
man was
talking about,
arrested
like, on a
in
date?
Harris Teeter
It's
for
gonna be-
touching women's
his
faces
name's gonna be
in the
Matt
produce
O'Brien.
aisle.
Anyway.
Yeah,
Is
seriously.
it like the end of a date you're talking
Yeah,
about?
no, I get it. I get
Like,
it. I
is
get what
that
you're
the
saying.
scenario you're talking about? Whether you don't know?
I'd
if
say
should
you
go for
usually
a
do
kiss?
know, but even when you know, it takes a lot
There's
of courage.
always
there's always the possibility.
There's always the possibility you're
You know?
wrong.
It's a unique phenomenon. The feeling of going in for that first kiss.
Actually,
it's tough.
But
I just thought in my head like what it would be like to go for a kiss and not know, and my stomach fluttered. So I
yeah,
can imagine.
yeah.
I can imagine. Yeah, like
So-
if I was just to be
it's so
like,
scary.
I
Yeah.
usually wait if to the third date,
Yeah.
and then I'll lean up against the car, you know,
That's his move.
classic Ric Flair move.
That's his move. He leans up against
That's
the car
hysterical.
and,
and
then
then
reels him
if they
in.
come to you, then you know.
Come to me, my love. And then
Well, that comes later.
whenever they kiss Hollywood, their foot always goes up. You know, like
like in
Like in
a
the
rom
like
com,
in the movie.
like in the rom coms.
this.
that actually is a thing. So whatever.
Is it? I just want to say one thing real quick. And another thing about not kissing till they really want to be kissed is once you drop them off at the front door and you leave, then they're thinking about you. You know, why didn't he kiss me? I wonder if he's attracted to me. And I'm just really saying this to set up Dan for his next subject.
Yes. Well.
Okay.
Then sometimes.
You guys talked while I was glossing.
We always talk while
And
you were
then
glossing.
sometimes when you don't get a kiss, you go home and you masturbate. And that brings me to
This took a turn.
Yeah, well, that brings me to a thing I noticed the other night. I was watching an old erotic thriller
from the
and-
80s, of course.
And
What was the erotic thriller?
the one Dream Lover, and but also Body Heat.
James
We were
Spader,
watching a
William
bunch of them.
Hurt, Melanie Griffith, all of those
So,
80s.
yeah, I
Okay.
noticed that any scene where, and this happens in really movies, I've noticed like of all time periods, any scene where a woman masturbates, they make it like this special, you know, like spiritual spectacle,
Amazing
beautiful.
backlight. It's shot in slow motion. There's fog or
and
smoke.
it's just like, oh,
I can't think
you
of
know,
one in
and
my
it,
head.
it makes it's like this like forbidden special like thing that's like, oh, it's so beautiful. But then a guy, like, you don't think about guy masturbating being that. It's just like, you know, you're done, you know. But like a woman would just, it's like, oh, it's so special. Look at her, she's taking control of her own body. You know, it's just like she's exploring her
This
body.
right here is why I love this guy
She's
right here.
exploring her body. Like, get out of here with that.
I
Like,
can't think of one scene from a movie of a woman masturbating.
well, I guarantee
can't
if
think.
you see one or if you
Well,
can
now
think of
all
one,
I
it'll
see
have
is the 3-syllable drug commercials now.
Oh,
like
yeah.
literally.
It's just so
I see them
ridiculous.
so
Why-
much now.
It's like we have to put it on such a pedestal when a woman masturbates in a movie.
So
I-
does
Maybe I'm watching the wrong
does
kind
the
of movies.
image of a guy masturbating excite you at all? Honestly,
It depends on if it's my guy, yeah.
doesn't excite me.
well, I would hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
If it's a
That's
dude,
and that's a problem with
If it's
watching
the
art
dude I'm
movies like
with,
Dan
yeah.
and I do.
what?
There's a lot of male masturbation in those movies.
Yeah, I watched a movie the other night that was like it was like a thriller, but it took place at a nude gay beach, and so
what channel do you watch? Or
Oh, no,
channel?
channel?
It's not even a channel.
Dan-
Well, you're the one that told me you watch cable.
I do watch cable.
If someone-
I love
I didn't
cable.
even know it still existed.
If more than 30 people have seen a movie, Dan will not watch
That's
it.
how I am too.
He only watches
Yeah.
movies that were made
Obscure
in Sweden,
art movies.
France,
Like I've
Italy.
never seen Harry Potter. I won't.
I like that.
The most
Everyone
traumatizing
tells me
movies
I
I've ever
should.
seen is when Dan and I have movie night at his place, and I'm wanting to watch Mr. Right with Sam Rockwell and whatever her name is, the little actress from the singing movies.
And I want to watch
And Dan's
Stranger
like,
by the Lake.
Let's
from
watch
France.
Stranger by the Lake, or,
Yeah.
Sometimes those ones are good though.
They're the best
No,
ones.
no, Conclave, great movie.
Yeah, Conclave.
What was the other one we watched that night that was great?
Honora was great.
Honora, what a great film.
Yeah. So, anyways, I noticed that, and I just thought, like, why do we have to put, women masturbating on such, like, it's the most special, spiritual experience. It's just enough with that. But also, enough with Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about Valentine's Day? I think, like, people who put so much pressure on it, like, get out of here with that.
You know what's so annoying?
Enough
is
with it.
like seeing like just flowers all over social media and people feeling the need that they have to post it to say like my partner bought me
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and then like dudes feel like they have to because
yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Pick that up.
It's
but then a
whatever. Oh, yeah,
dude
we
feels
should
like
pick it
he has to do it because like
Yeah, he does.
So
You
they
know
can
what? Oh wait,
post
I
it.
haven't
No,
enough.
no.
I haven't enough that goes with this.
He
Literally.
does have to do it, because if he doesn't do it,
Because they take it so seriously.
No, listen. This enough is good. Boo baskets and all this shit. So
Ew.
no,
Boo
listen.
baskets.
There became some trend on TikTok where some dude took a basket and made like a fall basket, and they called it like a boo basket. And
Ew.
all of a sudden, every woman started posting a boo basket, and like dudes had to buy it. And then it became like I forgot what the next one, the holiday
They were
was,
buying
like a
themselves
spring
shit.
basket and stuff. And like I was like, this is so like.
The term "boo basket"
Yeah,
is gross.
like
I don't know. There's something gross
I
about
was
it.
just that's exactly why I don't have female friends, because I'm never gonna hang out in a group of women and be like, oh, he got me a boo basket and I wanted a freaking beige candle with my beige stuff and my stupid hat that every other women follow everything, like they have no personality, they're all the same. I don't know how you guys date them, because literally they're all the same.
Some of them have really
Anyway.
nice butts, though.
right?
But like I could see that, but like I just feel like people.
Well,
Are
some-
you really happy that he's buying you flowers? Like,
No, you're happy that
you-
other people
yeah,
are seeing that he's
and
buying you
I like
flowers.
that's just so not my vibe.
Yeah, I mean,
know?
it's Valentine's Day. It's amazing. Everyone's relationship is perfect on Valentine's
Yeah.
Day on social media. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so funny. Like the percentage of people that post on social media that are actually in a happy relationship is probably
Yeah,
not that high. But yeah, I mean, I think that people put a lot of pressure on Valentine's Day, and I think, as a guy, you obviously have to acknowledge it. But like,
Yeah.
like if they don't take me out to dinner on Valentine's Day, I'm gonna be.
so
It's
not-
like
yeah.
no, honestly, life hack. Do Valentine's Day dinner the week before or the week after.
It's
like
cheaper,
it's
right?
cheaper. There's not just a specific menu that
but
they're
like, why
only
do you
doing.
have to do dinner? Why do you have
Yeah,
to do
yeah.
like Dee and I last year? We do this for every holiday. We did like a theme, and we just would like it was mugs, and he got me one that said Valentine's Day, I love you every day. And we'll do stupid stuff like go.
Themes like Border Patrol agent and female drug smuggler.
No, not that kind of.
Those
theme.
are the kind of themes that
Well,
we like.
Well, we did a Dollar Tree thing once where we had to find 10 items that reminded us of each other. And it was like silly. I would rather something like that than like him to get me the obligatory box of chocolates and flowers.
Do you remotely think that you're like a normal woman?
I'm like a boy. I know.
Okay,
I know.
okay. That's why we're trying to explain to you some of these things, because
We're trying to teach you about women.
I
Yeah,
know.
because
I would
you
never
obviously
like
don't know
if
anything
somebody
about
got
being
me
a woman.
roses and like chocolate, I would run from them.
So
I do like orchids.
So if
like
you're-
if you get
so
me an orchid plant,
if you're
I like
if
you.
you're out there and you don't want to spend any money on a woman, Michelle might be available coming up in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So just comment below,
Like
and we'll see if we can hook you
one
up.
Christmas, we did Legos. We each bought each other a Lego set. It was so fun. I would rather do something like that than like a fan. Like, oh, get me a tennis bracelet. You know, it's so dumb.
Yeah, I think if there's people who put way too much like stock in their relationship on, like what's he gonna do for me on Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day. What am I gonna be able to post on Valentine's? What am I gonna be able to post on my birthday? What like on New Year's? And like they have these like moments throughout the year that the guy has to really step up, and like that dictates their happiness
Oh,
for
wait
like
a
the year.
minute.
And it's all driven by marketing.
I
Exactly.
will say one
Exactly.
thing though. I will say one thing. Dahmer, and I'm only saying this because he's Dahmer and he did terrible things to me and other women. He was a millionaire, literally made $1 million a year at least, and we lived together. And for our first like Christmas together, he literally got me a gift card to Paint and Sip for like $50. I spent more money on him, literally $50 gift card to Paint and Sip, and I was like,
I don't even know what Paint and Sip is.
I don't either.
like,
wine and design.
First of all, if you know me, it's a bunch of women that get into a room and they drink wine together,
And
which like I'd rather take a pen and stab
Naked?
it through my eyeball than sit in a bunch of and paint and talk and
Did you paint each other or?
no, they just yuck.
They paint.
I would
sometimes when
die in
Sometimes
that
when
room.
Morrow lays on the couch,
He thinks about Paint and Sip nights.
he lays like this, like
Like I'm a French Renaissance painter?
like Rose in Titanic. It's like he wants me to paint him like one of his French girls. When Morrow lays on the couch, he's like this.
While we're watching those French movies about masturbating.
Oh my god, we should
Exactly.
actually have an episode where we do Paint and Sip. Anyway, moral of the story, I got a Peloton out of it because I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I bought you a $900 grill. I bought him a $900 grill, and he
for
got
his
me.
Volkswagen.
But see, you
Yeah.
were perpetuating the myth.
So, no.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I was just about to say, I felt like I was a little hypocritical, so I told that story. But that was only because I thought he was being cheap, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm not saying you don't buy something, you don't even do something really nice, but it's like I would rather do something like spend a lot of money or do something over the top if I didn't feel pressure.
Yeah.
Like if I didn't think you were
Yeah.
doing it for Instagram, like
Yeah.
like it would make me want to do something nicer. You know what I mean?
If he would have done something, he went out that morning and got a Paint and Sip thing. I watched him go out and get it. If he had done
I got
something
you
nice.
a 256 gig SD card for Valentine's Day tomorrow, buddy.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know, right?
I think in general, men should stop getting the obligatory things.
Who's going to be the first? Dan and I are going to be the first guys to stop.
Yeah.
Like,
And-
not
Because we don't have
roses
anybody serious
either,
right now.
like-
So
so yeah, what is
since we're talking about Valentine's Day, romance, that kind of bullshit, my enough is diamonds.
enough with diamonds?
Enough with diamonds.
Listen, I'll get behind that.
Why?
It's because it's coal that's been put under a ton of pressure and turned into a stone, and people expect $14,000 engagement rings and $30,000 wedding rings, and it's just a piece of rock.
Yeah.
And there's 100 things out there that
You know
look
what's much
just as
prettier? Morganite or whatever
Moissanite.
this is.
Moissanite.
No, this is like,
pretty. It comes from
I don't know. This is my best
asteroid.
friend. That's a dude from 8th grade. This was his engagement ring. He gave it to me after they broke up to clean it, to cleanse the energy of her.
If it's moissanite, it came from.
I think it's
asteroid.
Margana. I don't know. It's David Nierman. It's like Margan. I don't know.
But there's enough things out there that look just like diamonds that you really
like,
can't
this
tell
is so
that
much
cost
prettier.
like
It's like pale
nothing.
pink.
Yeah, I guess it's just a sign of like status, really. It's not even. There's so many things that are like that don't even look that good, but it's just a sign of like
Yeah.
it's just to tell people on a first impression.
You
of,
should
I'm
spend
rich.
3 months' salary on your engagement ring for your woman. I mean,
Well, do you know, though? Do you know where that came from? A diamond company started that myth. And a diamond.
genius.
It's all marketing.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius
Genius
marketers.
marketing,
Yeah.
just like Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Genius marketing.
If you notice, almost every week there's a day.
Oh, there's a day for every day of the year. If you look on,
Yeah, there's
on
like
the calendar,
hamburger
there's
day.
always a day.
That's my enough. Enough of those effing days.
yeah.
Like,
how do you
literally.
get a day? How do you even get it?
We should just start a day.
It sounds like
let-
you can.
Yeah, like what kind of day would we start?
February 29th, Filmmakers Day.
Dan Day.
There you go. There is a Filmmakers Day already.
Yeah,
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
How about a swipe left day?
That's every day.
Yeah. Oh, what's up before we go? What's up with the Brazilian?
She ghosted me.
You got ghosted?
Completely.
I got ghosted.
You got ghosted?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So it's very odd. Okay.
He thinks maybe he says something that offended her, but he doesn't really know.
Well, here's what happened. So we matched on like
Can we call her?
I never even.
He
took it.
never got her number.
Yeah. No. We just did that. I don't get numbers till after the first date. So I never got her phone number. So here's what happened.
I forgot about your role.
We started talking like let's say on a Sunday. And then the next few days till that Wednesday, we talked like every day a lot
Through the app.
through the app. And then I was like, hey, I normally don't ask people this fast, but do you want to go out this weekend? Like this, it seems like we have a lot. She looked really attractive on her pictures.
Yeah, I thought she was cute.
And so she was like, yeah, if you promise me one thing. This was on, I think, Tuesday, baby. And I was like, yeah, sure, what? She was like, don't stop talking to me before the date. Sometimes people ask you out and then like stop talking. She said this, and so
People
that,
really do that?
So that she was like.
I like that she's.
I like
Yeah,
that
she was like, you don't have to text me all day.
Direct.
She's like, just check in at least.
I like that she said that.
Like, let's
Yeah, me
text
too.
each
That's
day.
cool. That's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not cool because that was on Tuesday.
So you kept talking to her and she ghosted you.
So I
No,
kept
no,
talking
no,
to her.
no.
So Wednesday or Thursday, we were talking. I mean, our blocks of text are like really long. We're getting to know each other. And then she was talking about how.
Do you have it still?
No, because she unmatched me. I can't even see
when
it.
she
what
unmatches
did you
all
do
the
to her, Dan?
Hold
all the
on.
texts go away?
Yes.
You got ghosted and unmatched?
Well,
Daniel.
that's how I got ghosted. I just all right. Well, I'm
Anyway.
getting
Let him tell the story,
Okay.
damn it. I'm the one doing the interrupting.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, Morrow.
Lord. Okay, so on Wednesday or Thursday, we start talking on Sunday. I ask her on Tuesday. She says, yes, we'll go out, but you can't just stop talking to me until then. Like, that's awkward. You got to keep talking. I was like, whatever. So we keep talking.
Oh,
so,
I got, actually, now that you said that, I see her point of view.
So, yeah, she's saying
Yeah.
that guys will ask you out, and then they don't say anything in the next day.
Because
And
they're
like,
Yeah.
"Are we
working
going
on their
out?"
next dates.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
anyways. So we're talking, and
Thursday.
she was telling me about how, when I first came over from Venezuela when I was 19, I moved to Connecticut. I lived there for 15 years, and I moved out. Whatever. She was like telling, and I was like, oh, do you go back to Venezuela? She's like, I actually haven't been back since I was 19, and
Okay.
she's 39. And I was like, wow, like I'd love to, at some point, I'd love to hear more about like that journey and like coming over to, I can't imagine
Yeah.
like being in a new place at 19. That sounds really,
Completely harmless.
yeah, that sounds interesting. I'd love to hear more about it. And after that, it was like the conversation was like stopped flowing. It was weird.
A lot of people are afraid right now.
Well, so I was genuinely like, if you're starting to like talk to someone, you're going to date someone, you genuinely,
He was just making
I
conversation.
just like to hear about
Yeah.
your history and like that
Yeah.
is interesting.
No,
to move
I
to a new
didn't-
country you've never been to when you're 19. That's interesting.
So I didn't immediately think that because I thought what you said was wrong. I just thought maybe she's afraid
Yeah,
of being
anyways.
honest. because maybe I don't know. I've just seen some crazy stuff in the news right now.
What I actually said was, at some point I'd love to hear more about, your journey to the States and how that like assimilation's been, like whatever. And I was like, dot. You don't have to tell me everything now. Don't feel like you have to write an autobiography. LOL. Because we were like writing long text.
You did nothing wrong.
And so she was like, yeah, no, I wasn't planning to go into it right now. And then we just like kept talking, but it like
you could feel it.
really
You could feel it.
You should have said something.
And so then, that was Thursday. So then the rest
Oh
of
yeah, well you have a date lined up.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the rest of the day, Thursday, the conversation just kind of petered out, but like whatever. So then the next day, didn't hear anything. So around noon, I was like, hey, for tomorrow, like what time? She was like, oh, I should be free around 1 o'clock. I was like, that sounds great. I know you're out in Morrisville. You don't know the area that well. It's like, is there something out that way? I don't mind coming to you. And so she was like, yeah, I'm not positive. Let me look, see what's around here, and I'll let you know.
Yeah.
That was at like 2 p.m. on Friday. Didn't hear from her. And then the next morning.
She's straight ghosted?
Then the next morning at like 10 a.m., like 3 hours, I was like, I got to say something. So I just said, hey, let me know if you found a place or if you end up like you're busy today and it's not going to work for you today. No pressure at all.
Yeah.
Either way. And then I didn't hear anything, so I went back like 30 minutes later to just like check the app, and she was not there anymore. Yeah, how crazy is
No,
that?
you know what? I bet it has nothing to do with you.
I don't know what it was.
So
but
I bet she has another scenario in her life or something.
yeah, maybe so.
Like I've learned from either hearing from friends' scenarios and because I have a lot of dude friends and things like that. Sometimes it's just like they have an ex in their life or something.
And they're trying to get some
like-
attention for a second. Actually, she
Yeah.
did say when we were talking about like our last relationship, she was like, yeah, I was in a off and on relationship for like a year, and that I'm out of that. So
Yeah.
maybe she just went back to that. I mean, it
Yeah.
could be something that simple.
Yeah,
but
I've had
yeah,
people.
totally
I
ghosted.
probably shouldn't have come into the apartment when you're on the phone, texting her and yelled, "La migra!"
I don't think it had anything to do with
No,
what you
no,
said.
just kidding.
Because she still talked to you after. I don't think it had anything
Yeah.
to
Do you think, just let me ask her this. When Dan said to her, if you don't want to get together today, it's no big deal. Do you think
No.
that was, you don't?
That's just me being laid back.
Yeah, no.
Bro, I'm not criticizing you.
Stop!
I'm asking.
No.
He hates me. And that is it for the MFM
thank
podcast.
God.
If you know, what was her name? If you know a Venezuelan named Jennifer, tell her I said hey.
And also, I'd just like to say, we all know now that Michelle, she's not like other girls.
But I am.